Hello, my friends. How are you? I hope you're all having a lovely Tuesday. Um, I'm here, and I wanted to go over some of the screenshots that I got from what happened yesterday. And originally, I wasn't planning on responding to them or addressing them in any way because, I mean, this is just a never ending cycle with this particular person. Um, so, guaranteed after this video goes out, there's going to be a flurry of videos and comments and posts and all that stuff. So, I'm fully anticipating that. But I am going to be doing a series talking about healing from narcissistic abuse. So, I thought that because so many of these screenshots demonstrate typical narcissistic traits or behaviors, that I thought that it would be a good lead in to that series that I'm going to be doing. There was also some big accusations made in some of these screenshots, so I kind of just wanted to set the record straight on that, because of course I have receipts. Receipts are important. So when you're, telling your side of the story, receipts are important. It shows the truth of the matter, and it shows a history. And I feel like it's important to address that. And as I said, most likely there's going to be a flurry of videos and temper tantrums after I put this video out. But this is the only one that I'm going to be doing, and then I'm going to be putting it to rest and focusing on my narcissistic abuse series. So let's get into it here. This is a recorded video as well. I didn't want to do this live because I just kind of wanted to keep it as short as I possibly could and address the things that I wanted to say. So I'm going to move me over here, and we're going to start. I think, where's the first screenshot? There it is. Okay. So I'm going to put this up on screen, and I'm just going to talk about a little bit of the background so that you have some context to where this is coming from. So this particular person, I have been beefing with since probably, I want to say 2020. We have known each other for much longer than that, since probably about 2007, 2008 is when we met. We met on a video website called Live Video, which was kind of a competitor for YouTube at the time. But after that, it kind of, after a couple of years, just kind of died off, and everybody, YouTube was the big content platform at the time. So after Live Video kind of failed, her and I found each other a couple of years after that on Facebook, and we were friends on Facebook. Now, in the screenshots that she posted yesterday, one of them kind of addresses our falling out, and she always tells a different story than what actually happened. And what's really nice is I was going through some of my screenshots, and I accidentally found something that she had posted on Twitter showing the actual truth of it, that even though she's a Trump supporter and I'm not, she claims that her being a Trump supporter is what drove us apart, and why I ended the friendship. And that's not actually the case. What had happened was she was a Trump supporter, and we did kind of like banter back and forth about it, but it wasn't really anything serious, nothing that I thought would end friendship. And she had made a video on YouTube talking about how socialism was going to end America. And I had left her a comment kind of calling that out and asking her why she believed that, when she herself, who I believe she was on disability at the time, or collecting some kind of benefits from the government. So that means that like her healthcare was covered by the government, her income was covered by the government. She had veterans benefits. And then she was actually also going to school on someone else's dime as well. So all socialist benefits. So it didn't make sense to me why somebody who was benefiting from social programs would then turn around and say that socialism was killing America. So I had asked her why she felt that way. And there was nothing, like, I didn't attack her for it. It was just I was trying to open up a dialogue with why she believed the way that she believed, because that's kind of how we did it, right? We talked about stuff. But rather than talk to me about it, she just blocked me on everything after I asked that question. She blocked me on Facebook. She blocked me on YouTube. She blocked me everywhere she possibly could. I wasn't expecting that. So I was like, oh, okay. Well, I guess we're not friends anymore. And that's kind of where it ended. She likes to tell the tale that because she's a Trump supporter, I cut her off. And that's just not what happened. Again, it's fortunate enough that I found a post. It's actually a screenshot that she posted back on Twitter back in the day. And it just kind of proves that it wasn't the Trump thing that ended our friendship. It was actually her having a temper tantrum because she didn't like my question. Regardless of all that. So we've been beefing back and forth for quite a while. And she ended up, I don't know, it was, and I want to say October, November last year, she had a channel that had about 1,500 subscribers on it. She got frustrated with something. She got a couple of copyright strikes for posting news clips, I believe. Somehow she blamed that on me. I don't know how, but regardless, she deleted her channel. And she said she was doing it to get away from me. Okay, sure. So I didn't know where she was. And I had like 2 months of just peace and quiet. You know, nothing was happening. And then I got involved with the Isaac drama that was going on in Smokey's camp. And she popped up out of the woodwork with a new account and made a video all about me. She kind of threw herself in the middle of this drama with Isaac. Now, that lasted, I want to say, for about 2 months or so. Isaac and I were able to sit down and talk things out, and we're friends now. I love Isaac. I think he's fantastic. I'm glad we were able to work things out. But it just goes to show that she just kind of threw herself in there, and she didn't like the fact that I became friends with Isaac. And I think she was maybe a little butthurt that we were able to work things out like adults do, instead of, just blocking and ignoring and just cutting our friends off because we don't like the things that they ask. So if we fast forward, I don't know, we put this as about February of this year. She has another channel, and for some reason in April, she decided to delete it. Okay, cool. She's been gone since, I want to say, since the end of April, beginning of May, maybe. And okay, I haven't gone looking for her. She hasn't popped up. It's been about, I want to say, 3 or 4 months, and it has been fantastically quiet. And I have been living my life, posting my videos, not with a care in the world. Now, I made the mistake of referencing my situation with her when I did that stream about Eastmax the other night. Now, I didn't mention her name at any point. I did that on purpose. I did not call her out by name. But I used my a few of the past interactions that I've had with her to kind of emphasize the points that I was making in the Max video, because they were relevant, and you kind of do that, when you're talking about a topic, you're discussing things. Sometimes you use personal experiences as anecdotes to whatever it is, the topic that you're discussing at that time. And that's what I did. I wasn't making the video all about her. I wasn't really trash talking her. I was just using the things that I had experienced with her in reference to the topic that I was discussing. Well, apparently that was not okay, because she went and she created a YouTube account specifically to comment on my video and give me her 2 cents. She says she deleted my channel, hasn't contacted me in weeks, but you're still talking about me in your live streams. So she's missing the entire context of why I brought her up in the first place. Apparently that doesn't matter. According to this, I get the impression that I'm not allowed to speak of what I went through with her ever again. And if I do, then that just invites the abuse that followed that we saw yesterday. I called her a stalker simply because it was more of I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. So I don't actually believe that when you watch somebody's public content, you're a stalker. Like, that's just ridiculous. However, I have been called a stalker I don't know how many times. I actually had to go to a lawyer because she had posted my username and said that I was stalking her 2-year-old grandson. And she had that blasted all over several different platforms. And like, she had actually like tagged my username in it. So directly identifying me and then calling me a stalker of her 2-year-old grandson. And in the field of work that I'm in, that could be very damaging to my career and could actually, if I didn't have the great bosses that I did, could cost me my career because she's making shit up on the internet. So stalking to her was me sharing a parenting opinion that doesn't mention anybody's name, nobody's grandson or whatever, but me sharing a parenting opinion apparently was stalking her 2-year-old grandson, and she went buck wild and posted shit all over the place. So I had gone to a lawyer, and you know, she agreed eventually to take it down, because if she hadn't, I would have gone ahead with suing her. But I digress. I understand that watching public content does not make you a stalker. However, I called her a stalker simply because I so often am labeled a stalker in her eyes if I'm looking at public content. And, you know, it was just more of a, you know what, I'm using your own word against you. If this is how you define a stalker and you call me a stalker for watching your public content, then I'm going to do the same in kind and call you a stalker and see how you like it. So that's where that came from. But your obsession with saving my content speaks for itself. So, and it does. It absolutely does. And it's not an obsession. It's more of a documentation. Because I work in a field where if allegations are made, you have to have documentation or some kind of evidence to support your claim in order for us to be able to do something. So say, for example, an employee comes to me and says, this person is doing such and such to me, and I don't like it. Please do something about it. Then we, as the HR department, are under the obligation to go and investigate and collect as much evidence as we possibly can to support that allegation or refute it. And then based on the outcome determines how we handle the situation. So in real life scenarios, evidence and documentation is extremely important. And that's kind of always been ingrained in me. So this particular person likes to change the story a lot. And we've already seen that so far in the way that she says our friendship fell apart. So documentation is important. I do document as much as I possibly can. That way, when the story changes and accusations are made against me, I have those receipts to show what the actual truth is. Because she can sit here and say whatever she wants till she's blue in the face. But if she doesn't have the proof behind it to support the truth of that claim, then you can't prove that it's true. And nobody has to believe that it's true. Because you just saying whatever, you could be lying through your teeth. And most of the time she is, unfortunately. But anyway, get over me, lady weirdo, and move on. So I find that extremely funny how I'm the one being told that I need to get over her and move on, when I'm not the one that sat here and created a new account just so that I could come and comment on somebody else's video. Somebody who has been repeatedly blocked on numerous accounts on my YouTube channel. So she knew that making a new channel and me not knowing what it was, she would be unblocked. But if she wants to get away from me so badly, Why is she creating accounts just to come and comment on my shit? And the thing is, this is not her first time doing that. I have video of when I talked about becoming a Christian, and I kind of like came out to the world and told everyone that I had accepted Jesus. She created an account to pop up and comment on my live stream. So this is kind of her MO, right? Is she creates the new account. She comes to leave comments and interact with me, but I'm the bad guy, and I'm the one that won't leave her alone. I'm the one that won't get over her. But she keeps throwing herself in my path on purpose and then accusing me of being the bad guy. So make that make sense. All right, we're going to move on to the next. Which one are we going to do? Oh, I did want to address this because so I made a short yesterday with a little troll lady looking in a puddle. And I made, it was something about narcissists always make things about themselves. And I created this little troll character on ChatGPT. I didn't use anybody's photo to make it. And I proved to her several times that I did not use her photo to make that image. I just used a verbal prompt, didn't use anybody's name as a reference, nobody's picture as a reference. It was just a character that I described and ChatGPT created for me. But she, I guess, doesn't know how to do that. I don't really know. Because she went and because I posted that video, she created a troll image. And the difference is between the two of us is I used a written prompt of a nameless character, not based on anybody. She took my photo from Instagram and turned that into a troll. And I just pulled up the photos just so that everybody could see it. That's my Instagram photo, and that's the troll that she created. So she obviously directly used my photo to create this image. I mean, I don't care, but I wanted to throw it up there just to kind of prove a point that she goes and does things that she accuses me of. And that's very, very telling to me. All right, which one are we going to look at next? I think that's the full. Yeah, that's the full image that I had. So, there was a lot of other, like, these aren't all of the screenshots that I took from yesterday. A lot, I don't know if there's a new medication or somebody's tired or somebody's experiencing some dementia. I don't know. I can only speculate. But a lot of her posts were like very long and rambling with misspellings, wrong words, no punctuation, poor grammar. So a lot of them were really hard to read and get the point that she was trying to make because it was just such a mess to get through and really hard to read. But I mean, when you're not really educated, that's kind of how that happens. But so don't you just love it when they call you a narcissist and the troll and you expose them for who they are? I don't know exactly what she thinks that she was exposing. She didn't really expose anything because there's nothing to expose. So I don't know what the issue is there, what she thinks she's exposing, but it is what it is. So, this is a comment I definitely wanted to highlight because she talks about here about trying to actually trigger me into a response. And that's a typical narcissistic trait, right? They're going to try and push your buttons. They're going to try and antagonize you. They're going to poke you as much as they possibly can until you blow up because you can't take their abuse anymore. And then they turn it around on you, and the focus becomes how you're reacting rather than what they did to cause the reaction. And that's called reactive abuse. I'm familiar with that, which is why I didn't respond to anything yesterday. I tried to avoid that completely. She made it extremely easy to just kind of prove that that's what she was trying to do, is she was trying to trigger me so that I would react the way she thinks I was going to react, so that she could point the finger at me and say, look, this is a bad person. And that all kind of fell flat when I didn't react. But again, this is just a typical narcissistic trait. I'm going to try and agitate this person as much as I possibly can to get them to react so I can prove to everybody that they're a bad person. Totally ignore the fact that I pushed them that far so that they finally reacted, because let's face it, we're all human. Everyone can only take so much, right? You can only get attacked so much before you finally lose your cool. And she admits that that's what she was trying to do. She was trying to push me to a point where I lost my cool and I reacted to her antagonizing me. That way she had the ability to point the finger and call me the bad person. You know. Okay. Next one. All right. So this one was interesting. So I posted yesterday that I was thinking about doing a series talking about narcissistic abuse. Now, the thing with narcissists, and this has been very true with this particular person, is that they always think, when you are their target, they always think that everything that you do, everything that you say somehow has to do with them. When we translate that into online, the online world, everything that you post, everything that you do online somehow ties back to them, because you are currently the center of their world. So that must also mean that you are, or they are the center of our world. And that's just not the truth of it. So she said, it's going to be entertaining. Maybe I'll do a double series and talk about my experience and how a person can try to apologize to someone that they refused to accept the apology, and even mock you for apologizing to them and make it all seem like you're the terrible human being. So what she's essentially saying there is that she's making the assumption that my narcissistic series is going to be about her. When I didn't say anything, I just said I was going to talk about narcissistic abuse. And what's funny is that my husband and I have kind of been talking about doing a series like this. He suggested to me a few weeks ago that I talk about my birth mother. I was raised by a narcissist, essentially. And there's a lot about my childhood and growing up and the things that I experienced from having a narcissistic parent, that the only person I've ever really told a lot of these stories to is my husband. And he made the suggestion that maybe I can get online and talk about those experiences, be a little more public with them, and that will help with my own personal healing. And when I made that little short with the troll yesterday about how narcissists make everything about themselves, I really kind of started brainstorming about what a good series that would be to talk about online. Not just talking like a story time, talking about what I experienced, but also how I've healed from that, how I've grown, and how I've dealt with growing up with this narcissistic abuse, and telling some of my story. And that was my intention when I posted about starting a series about that. And that's what I'm going to talk about when I do my narcissistic abuse live stream on Friday. I was at work today and I was brainstorming a bunch of ideas about things that I want to talk about. So I don't just want to sit down and go over on stream and just, open my mouth and everything falls out. I want to have a structured plan of how this series is going to go, what each video is going to talk about, and where I'm going to integrate my own personal stories from growing up with a narcissistic parent. But anyway, that was my intentions. But again, narcissists think that everything is about them. So she automatically jumped to the assumption that I was going to make a stream and talk all about what I've experienced with her, when I actually didn't plan on even bringing her up in that entire series, because it's irrelevant, honestly. It's inconsequential. It's online abuse. Everybody goes through that. I don't see it as enough of a talking point to create a whole series like that about it. I was going to talk about growing up. So again, another shining example of how narcissists think that everything that you do and you say is about them. She didn't even take the time to consider that there may have been other narcissists in my life that I've experienced. But no, it has to be about her. And when it's not, you know. Okay. So we talked about this screenshot, talking about how, you know, watching public content is not really stalking, blah, 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 blah. There is a line in here in the middle, and it's hard to see, but it's about halfway down, where she goes, this, all right, I'm just going to read the whole thing. And also to know, when you define the word stalking, watching your public content and making a comment is not making someone a stalker while you're on public platforms. This is what I mean. This is one great big giant run-on sentence. You got to take a breath in there and use some punctuation. People are entitled to watch your content. Yes, absolutely. People are entitled to watch your content. I just wish that when she accuses me of being a stalker because I've watched one of her videos, that she would remember that, you know, that definition applies both ways, that it doesn't make me a stalker when I watch your content. Just saying. You sit here and save people's content and use it against them. Well, it's not that I use it against them. It's that when you get online and you leave comments or make videos and you straight up lie, then I'm going to follow behind with the receipts to show that you're lying, especially if it's got to do with me. If you're lying and you're making accusations about me and I have proof to show that that's not what happened, then I'm going to show it. I have a right to defend myself against your lies. And I'm sorry if you don't like it when people prove you wrong or call you out on your lies, but that's how it works. If you don't want to be called out for lying, then stop lying. It's that simple. And doctor it. I've never doctored a photo of her, so I don't know what she's talking about there. And make it look like they're the bad guy. Sweetie, I don't need to make you look like the bad guy. You do a good enough job of that on your own. Okay, so here she's also, this is what I wanted to address. Also threatened to give out my address and information. I have the screenshot of that. I have never once ever threatened to put out her information publicly. Not once. You know what I did say to do that? I did say when I was talking to the lawyer, I needed to provide her information in order to send out a cease and desist letter. So I had to have that information, because you can't go and sue someone if you don't have their information, because number one, they have to receive mail. They have to be notified that they're being sued. So there's legalities there where you need someone else's personal information in order to send them those legal notices. All I said was that I had it and that I was going to be sending a cease and desist letter. I never said that I was going to be posting it anywhere or giving it out anywhere or doxing her in any way, because that's crime. And I don't feel like going to jail. I don't feel like getting sued. So I'm not that stupid. So you can go ahead and post the screenshot that says that I'm going to put your information out there. Absolutely. You can go ahead and do that, because it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist, because I never did it. And guaranteed, she made a whole entire video talking about how she went to the chief of police in her local town and gave him all of the information on me. And if I threatened to dox her, or I actually did dox her, the police would have a reason to contact me. I haven't been contacted by anyone. There's been no police knocking on my door. There's been no legal notices in the mail. I've gotten absolutely diddly squat. So she is accusing me of committing a crime that I didn't commit, and she's got no proof that I did. But this is why receipts are so important, because she says bullshit like this, makes accusations like this, and just thinks, oh, well, I don't have to actually prove that it's true. I just have to say it, and that makes it true. And that's just not how it works. So this is when she wanted me to know that she was going to be watching my stream. And this is just an intimidation tactic. Like, her watching my stream is supposed to bother me in some sort of way. I know that she watches my stream. I know that she watches all my content. I don't care. It's an extra view. Whatever. I mean, again, it's public content. I can't stop her from watching it. But she wants me to know that she's going to be there and she's going to be watching, thinking that that's going to intimidate me in some way. But, you know, it is what it is. That's just how narcissists operate. So this is a screenshot of 9 of the videos that she made yesterday. There was one more, I believe, down further, or she made one after this. I can't quite remember. But these are all the videos that she made using the troll face and you know, and again, this is just another way of, she's poking the bear. She's poking the bear. She's poking the bear. She wants me to react. And the more content that she puts out, the better chance she thinks that she's going to have me react to her abuse. Because again, that's what she wants. She wants me to react to her and call her out and ignore the fact that she did all of these things leading up to it to antagonize me, and just address the fact that I reacted so that she can point the finger and call me the bad guy. And it didn't work, because I'm smarter than that. But it doesn't mean that I don't recognize what she was trying to do and how she was trying to get to me. And that's, again, that's what narcissists do. It's how they operate. They want everything that you do to be about them. They want to be the center of your world, and they struggle when you're not. Oh, I thought I posted this already. Okay. So this is where she's talking about she wants to try and trigger me just so that she can point and claim that I'm the bad guy. I think this is another one. I don't think we looked at this one yet. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is there was a specific reason why I saved this one. So here we can see, and we've led up all to this. So we've posted all the videos, we've posted the comments, we've made all the community posts and all that stuff. But she's still saying, I'm just an innocent old lady that's being attacked. So we're going to completely ignore all of your behavior leading up to this. But then now you're going to try and pretend that you're just a little old lady that's being attacked, and ignoring all of your behavior of attacking me up until this point because you want to be the victim. And that was the whole goal of yesterday, was to antagonize me to react to you so that you would have more of an opportunity to play the victim and say Mindy's the bad guy because Mindy reacted to all of the harassment from yesterday. So again, just another example of how narcissists operate. They antagonize you to the point you explode, make you out to be the bad guy, and then play the victim because you reacted to their abuse. It's all a game. It's all a manipulation game. So there was, and just to kind of show like how long this is ongoing, because in one of the posts we saw, she was claiming that she apologized, I apologized, and she's never forgiven me, and blah, blah, blah. She's actually apologized to me a number of times. The reason why I don't accept apologies anymore is because there is no sincerity behind them. It's absolutely zero. If someone apologizes to you, but they do not change your behavior, that's just an empty apology. It's meaningless. Apologies have no meaning without changed behavior. And of the multiple times that she's apologized to me, she's immediately gone back to the same behavior of attacking me. So after like 3 or 4 apologies, I don't even acknowledge them anymore because they don't mean anything. Like, if she was actually sincere in that apology and actually stuck to her word, then yeah, I would be an asshole. But when you apologize to me and then you go back to behaving the exact same way, why am I going to accept your apology? It was just empty words. It was a lie. And I don't have to accept it. I'm under no obligation to accept your apology. And you've given me no reason to. And funny thing is that I've addressed her apologies several times. There was actually a video that I had done when I was living in my tiny home back in Canada where I talked for about 45 minutes addressing the fact that I was not going to accept her apology and the very specific reasons why I was not going to accept her apology. But of course, when she retells these stories, she leaves those parts out because those parts hold her accountable, right? It shows her lack of accountability if she just says, well, I apologized and she didn't accept it and she's just an asshole and she mocked me, because she wants to paint me as the bad guy instead of owning up to the fact that she doesn't have any meaning or sincerity in her apologies. One of the things that she never apologized for, and she's just straight up lied about numerous times, because there's been a lot of accusations that have been thrown at me. And one of the big ones was back in 2020, my dog died. We had a 2-year-old lab and she was beautiful and I loved her to death. And unfortunately, she got a really rare form of aggressive cancer in her bones. And it showed up on her hip. And we originally thought we could do surgery, but the vet actually talked us out of it and we decided to put her to sleep. In the short period of time between when we had decided we were going to try the surgery and when we were going to put her down was about 24 to 48 hours. We had already been through so much and spent thousands of dollars getting her diagnosed. Then when they told us that the surgery was going to cost like another $2,500, around in there somewhat, we set up a GoFundMe to help because it was 2020. My husband was laid off. We were in a situation where we wanted to save our dog. And we didn't have the money to do that. And if you're interested in hearing that story, there's a video on my channel called Lola where I just kind of go through and talk about, Lola's story from start to finish. And I go into a lot of detail about that. But I had set up a GoFundMe to just see if people wanted to help. We did end up raising enough money almost enough money for the surgery. But then the vet had told us that doing the surgery was kind of pointless because it would have been a very painful surgery, a painful recovery. It would have been a very long recovery and it wouldn't cure the cancer. The cancer would just pop up again somewhere else on her body and we'd be back at square one. So we decided that we were going to do the humane thing and we were going to put her to sleep. Within 24 hours of setting up the GoFundMe, we then also canceled it. And I don't know if you've ever done a GoFundMe before, but when you shut down a GoFundMe, it automatically refunds everybody that's donated to the fund. So we had done that. And remember, she called herself, she's just an innocent old lady, right? She doesn't do anything wrong. Here, she calls me a fraud for setting up the GoFundMe to save my dog. And she's also, it's bonus points for her saying, I screenshot and record this stuff. I mean, she's calling me a creep for recording stuff, and here she is admitting that she's doing the same thing. So, I mean, the hypocrisy, again, is another narcissistic trait, but I digress. Someone's posting, grieving, begging for money for their dog, still has time to come here and dislike all my videos. Big, huge fraud. And if you go back, yeah, I mean, they don't exist anymore because she deletes all her channels. I probably have it saved somewhere, but regardless. She would come on video and say, she never called me a fraud. She never called me a fraud. And what's funny is this person, Stacy, was a friend of hers. And when I first addressed this back in 2020, she threw her friend Stacy under the bus. Like, this is a person that will, and again, that's another narcissistic trait, by the way, is when they immediately blame other people rather than take accountability for what they said. And she has repeatedly come on camera saying, I never called you a fraud. My friend Stacy called you a fraud. She called you a fraud. Here you go. It is actually her that called me a fraud. And the evidence is right on the screen. So this is why receipts are so important. This is why I screenshot this stuff, because she makes accusations. She changes the story and she lies about what actually happened. And she expects people to believe her because she wants to make herself out to be a victim. And she's not. All right. One last screenshot. So this is a screenshot that she posted that she took from her Facebook. That's why all the last names are all blurred out. So I commend her for at least doing that and covering up everybody's last name because, you know, Facebook. But here she posts a screenshot of a comment that I left her on Facebook. And this is what I said to her. And I can't remember what it was that we were talking about. It's irrelevant to why she was posting it. So unfortunately, some people don't understand how friendship works, and all you can do is pray for them and show them what true friendship is. Now, keep in mind, she was a Christian at the time. I was not. I was an atheist. So even though I was an atheist, she was my friend. I was trying to be supportive in a Christian way, and that's why I suggested, hey, maybe you want to pray on it. See what it says. You know what I mean? Like, friends do that. They support each other even if their ideologies, like being a Christian, being an atheist, are different. So as you can see, that wasn't the problem with our friendship. And I said, love you, lady. You know, even if we're going at it over Trump, I will still always have your back. So that right there proves the fact that our friendship didn't end because she was Trump supporter. It ended because she didn't like a comment that I left her on her video. And she blocked me on everything. And she just dropped me like that. So here I am saying, I'm going to have your back despite the fact that you're a Christian and you're a Trump supporter. But she didn't show me that same respect because she dropped me instead of coming and talking to me like an adult. I can understand that if I leave you a comment and it hurts your feelings or it's offended you in some way, come and talk to me about it. Because 9 times out of 10, if I've left you a comment that's hurt your feelings, I didn't mean to. So let's talk about it so that I don't mess up again and hurt your feelings or do something that offends you. Talk to me, because that's what adults do. That's some high school bullshit to just click block and run away. But that's what she did. Anyway. So that's kind of encompassing me addressing all of the bullshit that happened yesterday. I don't really see it necessary to talk about it again unless we get a repeat of yesterday. I'm anticipating comments from a new account or videos from a new account. Who knows? She is not the type to... she's going to respond to this. I already know that. I hesitated a little bit in doing this because I just don't want to deal with the responses. But, you know, if it happens again, we'll just move on and ignore it. I have bigger and better things planned for my channel. I'm really looking forward to doing this this series on narcissistic abuse and healing, because I feel like I can add a lot of value to that topic just because of what I've been through. And it'll be nice to kind of talk about some of the things that I experienced growing up, because I've never really talked about them before, not in a lot of detail. I did briefly talk about my mom on a live stream I did years and years ago when I first started this channel. I don't even know if I still have that video. I probably do. And maybe I'll just kind of go over that and see what I talked about. But I've never really talked a whole lot about my history, and it might be a good idea to do so. There might be some people out there that are interested in hearing about it and going over some of that stuff, or maybe they'll find some value in how I've healed and grown as an adult, some of the challenges that I faced because of that abuse and things like that. It's just, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to unpack there. And I'm looking forward to doing that. So if you've watched this video in its entirety, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. If you would like to see more content like this in regards to like talking about narcissists, leave me a comment. Let me know. But please like, please subscribe, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.